ICE says 2 officers may have lied under oath about shooting migrant in Minnesota. The officers were placed on administrative leave, ICE's acting director said. The acting head of Immigration and Customs Enforcement says that 2 of its officers appear to have made untruthful statements about shooting a migrant in Minnesota and may face federal charges for their actions. Today, a joint review by ICE and the Department of Justice (DOJ) of video evidence has revealed that sworn testimony provided by 2 separate officers appears to have made untruthful statements, acting ICE Director Todd Lyons said in a statement. Both officers have been immediately placed on administrative leave pending the completion of a thorough internal investigation. Lying under oath is a serious federal offense. The U.S. Attorney's Office is actively investigating these false statements, the statement said. The men and women of ICE are entrusted with upholding the rule of law and are held to the highest standards of professionalism, integrity, and ethical conduct. Violations of this sacred sworn oath will not be tolerated. ICE remains fully committed to transparency, accountability, and the fair enforcement of our nation's immigration laws, Lyons added. The statement from Lyons comes a day after the top federal prosecutor in Minnesota asked a judge to dismiss charges against 2 men, including one who was shot in the leg by an immigration agent, citing newly discovered evidence in what was initially framed as a violent attack on law enforcement during an enforcement operation. Newly discovered evidence in this matter is materially inconsistent with the allegations in the complaint affidavit. As well as the preliminary hearing testimony, U.S. Attorney for the District of Minnesota Daniel Rosen wrote in the filing Wednesday evening. It remains unclear what specific new evidence Rosen was referencing. Rosen has asked the court to dismiss the case with prejudice, meaning the charges cannot be refiled. Accordingly, dismissal with prejudice will serve the interests of justice, Rosen wrote. In the wake of the shooting on January 14, a week after an ICE agent fatally shot Renee Good in Minneapolis, the Trump administration said the man who was shot, Julio Cesar Sosa-Selis, attacked a federal law enforcement officer with a shovel or a broomstick and that the incident was part of an attempt to evade arrest and obstruct law enforcement. Lawyers for another man charged in the incident, Alfredo Aljorna, said surveillance videos did not corroborate the FBI's claims that an agent was assaulted and said Sosa-Celis was shot while standing at his doorway some distance away from the officer. Earlier this month, attorneys for Aljorna also urged a judge to prohibit the government from deporting key witnesses who they said cast doubt that an agent was repeatedly struck with a broom or a snow shovel. Judge Paul Magnuson granted the request. The reversal on the assault charges for Sosa-Celis and Aljorna comes after several discrepancies emerged between statements from Department of Homeland Security officials and details outlined in court records regarding their arrests. DHS initially said in statements to media that officers were conducting a targeted traffic stop for Sosa-Celis when he fled in his vehicle, crashed into another car and attempted to evade arrest. The agency alleged that Sosa-Celis violently assaulted an officer and that 2 other individuals exited a nearby apartment and joined the attack with a snow shovel and broom handle. According to DHS, Sosa-Celis struck the officer with a shovel or broomstick, prompting the officer to fire what the agency described as a defensive shot to defend his life, striking Sosa-Celis in the leg. What we saw last night in Minneapolis was an attempted murder of federal law enforcement, DHS Secretary Kristi Noem said in the January 15 statement. However, an affidavit from FBI Special Agent Timothy Schanz, who investigated the shooting, stated that I